Welcome everyone, my name is Jacob and this is Hunt Detail, an introspective examination of nuance and detail within hunting woodsmanship and hunting gear. And really my hope is to challenge you with questions or thoughts to think about as it relates to your own hunting evolution. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the broadhead testing that I did earlier this year. And broadheads are, as I mentioned in the videos on YouTube at J_Coons_hunts, are a lot like baseball cards, I guess. When we were kids, you can never have enough of them. You're always looking at the different stats in terms of, oh, it's a single bevel, or it's double bevel, or it's made out of tool steel or stainless steel, or maybe it's you got 4 blades or 2 blades, or it's an expandable and it opens this way or that way, or it's fixed and it has a wide cut or whatever. I mean, there's so many different variations and combinations. I mean, we've seen some of them that all the blades are in the ferrule and then they pop out. I think it's the thorn broadhead. Ultimately, it's a lot of fun. I think we all have, I'm assuming we all have multitudes and multitudes of different shapes, sizes of broadheads. And I think ultimately it's a personal preference sort of thing and experimentation. As you have a great experience with one broadhead, it really paints how you view that broadhead. Or if you have a bad experience with a particular broadhead, there's also a lot of confirmation bias. Like, well, so-and-so influencer has talked me into buying this broadhead subconsciously, because I'm basing my decisions, my purchase decisions, on emotions, whether we like to admit it or not. That's happening. And we saw so-and-so shoot a nice deer with it. We think, well, that's going to make us more successful or help us. So in turn, we make that same purchase decision. And then sometimes that's okay, because a lot of these broadheads are designed really, really well, and they kill a lot of deer. So, but in my evaluation that I did over the summer, I really wanted to take a look at both fixed and mechanical broadheads and just pick one. I like to carry both, one from each category, but I like to keep one of each style in my quiver, a fixed and a mechanical. And fixed I would use for situations where there's maybe it's a little thicker. If I was hunting on the ground, I'm shooting through some brush, maybe some grass, and I don't want this broadhead to quote unquote deploy. I want it to cut on impact. But a lot of the fixed broadheads have 1 inch and 1/8 cut, or maybe just 1 inch, and those holes are not good enough for me. I've shot many deer with 3-bladed fixed blade broadheads, or 2-bladed broadheads, or even 2-bladed with the bleeders, and the wound channel is smaller. The blood, the blood trails are less, and it's just not ideal in my opinion. And I know there's a lot of arguments about mechanical versus fixed. I shot up a buck earlier this year with a mechanical, and I love it. It was great. And I know the argument was like, well, if you hit the shoulder, then you're sort of out of luck, because it's not, it's going to lose that kinetic energy, and it's going to not make 2 holes. It's only going to make 1. And I think none of us are aiming for the shoulder, but that's always the pushback on it, is that, well, if you hit the shoulder, and I'm like, well, I don't anticipate that to be the case. And so, and let's be honest, when animals move, I think a mechanical is a better broadhead anyways. If they duck and you hit high, or if they move their leg, or they shift in a way where sort of quartering to or quartering away at a steeper angle. Personally, I feel like a mechanical provides a better, because of that diameter of 2 inches with most of, at least the mechanicals that I tested, those 2 inches are so significant. And it makes such a difference in terms of blood trails and wound channels. And I shot a buck last year that was almost straight down. It really was straight down. He was 10 yards from me, and he was angling, he was quartering away, but I shot with a fixed broadhead, and I think I missed everything, and that's on me. But I felt like if I would have had a mechanical, maybe the outcome would have been different. And so ultimately, I lost that buck. I'm very confident that he lived based on even after the shot. I was like, I don't think I hit anything. I probably made him hurt a lot, shooting down through the brisket and missing sort of all the vitals and whatnot. But ultimately, the thing that I want to sort of challenge you with today, or the topic as it relates to broadheads, is not mechanical or fixed, but tool steel versus stainless steel. So there are a number of sort of newer fixed blade broadheads that are made out of tool steel, and I'll list some of them. And I'll say Iron Will is at the top of that list. It's A2 tool steel. Cutthroat broadheads are S7 tool steel. Valkyrie are also S7 high carbon tool steel. There are there's quite a few others. I think Crimson Talon is another one that's a D2 tool steel. And so when you hear tool steel, I want you to think about the edge of a shovel or the edge of a flathead screwdriver. And I want you to think about a surgeon trying to extract an organ or do surgery with a really as sharp as he can get a screwdriver, like he's trying to make that incision. Or you could think of other tools like maybe the edge of a pruning shear, which is sharp for sure because you're cutting through vegetation with a pruning shear. That is tool steel. And that, it even at its best, in my opinion, is not that sharp, and it's not scary sharp. And what you'll hear from those that lead those companies, they'll say, "Oh, well, the stainless steel is scary sharp, but it's not. It's dull as soon as after it passes through the hide." And I just haven't found that to be the case, quite honestly. I really haven't. And I know a tool steel is not going to bend or break or twist up, but as it hits bone. But I just, in my opinion, I'm a 420 stainless steel blade hunter, at least for now, for the foreseeable future. Like I said, I shot this buck earlier this year, and I shot him with a Sever Titanium 2.0, and I checked that broadhead after I found the arrow, and the blades were relatively still sharp. They weren't scary sharp, but I knew I could touch them up and they'd be sharp as they could be, as sharp as probably sharper than out of the box. If I just touched them up, and I can reuse that head. Of course, a lot of times when you shoot with like a Rage or something that has a stainless steel, and again, that's a 420 stainless steel, that those blades could be nicked significantly or bent or broken. Obviously, you don't want them to be broken, but my point in saying all this is that if you're having a hard time getting those iron wheels sharp, you're not alone, because they're tool steel, and they're only going to get so sharp, and they're not probably going to get scary sharp, in my opinion, which is dragging your finger across it for just a little bit of it and knowing that if you kept going, it will cut you. And so that's my challenge to you. And of course, if you're a fixed tool steel guy, I got nothing. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything different. If you've had nothing but success and that's what you love, but I would encourage you, if you're frustrated, to again take a hard look at the Broadheads composition, specifically the blades. The rest of it could be tool steel. The rest of it could be, a stainless steel or whatever, or some sort of steel ferrule tip, whatever variation of broadhead you want. But when it comes to those cutting blades, the 420 stainless steel is where it's at for me. So best of luck this season. Find me on social media at j_coons_hunts, and whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. I look forward to connecting with you all soon. And again, best of luck.